How did it all go so wrong? Welcome to MojoPlays, and today we're looking at 10 times video games ended in disaster. Before we begin, we publish new content all week long, so be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. For this video, we'll be exploring a handful of games where everything just sucked. These games left players in a state of despair as their respective worlds and characters came crumbling down. Oh, and in case it wasn't obvious, we are talking about endings here, so here's a big spoiler warning in case you haven't played these games just yet. God of War 3.
My vengeance ends now.
Ah yes, we had this ending replaying in our heads throughout 2018's God of War. After several installments showing Kratos wreaking bloody havoc across all of Greece, God of War 3 brought his journey to a somber crimson halt. Throughout the game, players witness Kratos causing natural disasters by killing various Greek gods. It isn't until after his destruction when the Ghost of Sparta finally forgives himself for murdering his family and realizes he's killed an entire pantheon. With the Blade of Olympus, Kratos tries to take his own life, but we all know what really happens after. He goes to hang with the Nordic. Still, when the game initially launched, we thought it was a melancholic end for a fierce warrior.
You disappoint me, Spartan.
Life is strange.
No matter what you choose, I know you'll make the right decision. Chloe, I can't make this choice.
At the end of the final episode, Maxwell finds that the storm she's been seeing in her visions has come to fruition and threatens Arcadia Bay. Players will have to make the difficult decision of either sacrificing Chloe, thus saving the town, or keeping Chloe alive and let the storm destroy all of Arcadia Bay. Both choices end with everything being depressing. Sacrificing Chloe sees Max attending a funeral for her friend, whereas sacrificing the town lets you watch the storm rip apart everyone's homes. Whichever you choose, you'll walk away feeling like everything is just terrible. Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria Simulator.
You are not here to receive a gift, nor have you been called here by the individual you assume, although you have indeed been called.
The commonly dubbed FNAF 6 would finally answer some questions that have been haunting the lore for years, but we weren't expecting it to be so disturbingly depressing. Well, that's assuming that you've salvaged every animatronic throughout your uncanny business venture. Once you've finished all your chores for Saturday night and log off for closing time, Baby utters a few frightening lines of dialogue.
Did you really think that this job just fell out of the sky for you?
It isn't long until she's interrupted by Cassette Man, aka Willie and Often's former business partner Henry, who reveals that he has trapped everyone inside and set the place on fire. All the player can do is watch the temperature rise as Henry delivers his final message to his daughter before terminating the connection.
I should have known you wouldn't be content to disappear. Not my daughter. I couldn't save you then, so let me save you now.
Nier Automata.
But in order to make sure no one ever learned the truth, we were designed to be killed.
While Nier Automata gives the player a wide assortment of endings to experience, the roughest is the one that occurs after completing 9S and 2B's playthroughs. You're constantly thrown into tragic situations, such as Pascal asking you to kill him or erase his memory, or when 2B dies. Just when we thought things couldn't get any worse, Ending D concludes with both A2 and 9S dying. It doesn't matter which android you choose to play as. Either one will lead you to an ending where both of them die. It's a total bummer, man. Thank goodness for Ending E.
A future is not given to you. It is something you must take for yourself.
LA Noire.
What is he talking about?
It was war. For God's sake, I can't be held responsible for everything that happened.
Given how this is a noir tale, we already had a feeling that the story of Cole Phelps was not going to end on a high note. However, we didn't think it was going to be as resentful as this. The case named A Different Kind of War sees Phelps drowning in the Los Angeles River Tunnel after taking down a former squad member and saving nightclub singer Elsa Lichtman. A funeral is held for Phelps, but those in attendance are already aware of how corrupt the LAPD has become, and the service grows even more uncomfortable when Elsa walks out. Everyone knows the truth, yet no one addresses it. That's some cold and depressing stuff. Conker's Bad Fur Day.
Well, there you go, materialist. Well, you can talk. Anyway.
You'd think a comedy game like Conker's Bad Fur Day would end things in a lighthearted and possibly drunk stupor, but alas, the waves of jokes and profanity only allowed the game to pull the wool over our eyes at the last minute. In the final moments of the game, Conker's girlfriend Barry is shot and killed by Weezo. During his fight with a xenomorph, Conker gets the programmers to give him a katana to defeat the alien. He only realizes his folly after the fight, thinking he should have asked the programmers to revive Barry. Alas, Conker is forsaken by the devs and chooses to live his new life of royalty as a miserable drunkard.
I guess you know who these guys are now? 'Cause I certainly do.
Mortal Kombat.
You see, their souls are already mine. Shao Kahn's payment for Netherrealm's allegiance. No, this was not meant to be. Earthrealm has lost Raiden. Now so shall you.
The last couple of chapters in MK9 are long and painful, as players get to witness their favorite combatants be easily murdered by Sindel. To make matters worse, we watch Liu Kang spiral out of control to the point where he questions Raiden and challenges him. As expected, this only results in the Shaolin monk's death. While Raiden does emerge victorious in his fight against Shao Kahn, the cost was simply too great. Liu Kang's dead, Katana, Jade, Nightwolf, everyone's dead. This was just too tragic and sudden for us to handle.
So many are gone. Their light has sunk into the earth. I am responsible for their loss.
The Last of Us.
It's what she'd want.
While we were heavily considering putting The Last of Us Part 2 on here, the first game's ending is just too somber and disturbingly ambiguous. After being taken by the Fireflies, Joel learns from Marlene that they'll be cutting Ellie open, hoping to extract the infected part of her brain and develop a cure. Unfortunately, Joel isn't willing to possibly save the world if it means losing another loved one. And so, he assaults the surgeon team before they can begin and takes out Marlene. In other words, Joel has chosen to continue a global catastrophe and let the world suffer longer.
Swear to me that everything that you said about the Fireflies is true.
I swear.
Red Dead Redemption 2.
Always was a good thief.
That you was. Yeah, get out of here.
It was one thing to force players watch Arthur slowly die from tuberculosis, but the last third of Red Dead Redemption 2 is heart-wrenching to sit through. The gang begins to dissolve when Dutch starts thinking there is an informant amongst them, and their leader's arrogance shows when he leaves Arthur for dead during the army payroll heist. What makes this even more upsetting is when you think back to what the gang was like before Dutch started getting paranoid. There was a sense of union and belonging, and now it's been tainted with false accusations, paranoia, and betrayal. It doesn't help that one of the last things we see is John's ranch from the first Red Dead Redemption, and we all know how well that ends. Spec Ops: The Line.
You did this. No, you did.
Like some of the other games we've mentioned, Spec Ops: The Line holds multiple endings, but it wouldn't have made this list if the ending wasn't so damn defeating. Captain Martin Walker suffers from some pretty disturbing hallucinations throughout the game, and it's these delusions that eventually lead to his downfall. After an intense fight with Colonel John Conrad, Walker finally sees that he has become the very threat he set out to stop. Whether you choose to have Walker end his life or not, it's clear that nobody has won this war.
All this, it was your fault. That's what you believe, then shoot me. Two. I didn't mean to hurt anybody. No one ever does.
Check out these other great clips from MojoPlays, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.